Today we are going to be learning the Fraktur alphabet, which is, just another person. Today we are going to be learning the Fraktur alphabet, which is a German offshoot of the script black letter or Gothic, however you want to refer to it. And the basic shapes for this form are we're still going to have the super straight line. And we are going to have the basic curves, but we are also going to have a weird, almost music note sort of thing, and its opposite, which will eventually connect. And we're going to have very curvy curves. So if you guys want to practice those, that would be awesome, because we're going to be using all of these a lot. And because I am recording this, I will say things that I said the last lesson. The basic point of calligraphy, it's normally done with a quill or any sort of fancy pen. But the trick of it is actually creating shapes and combining them into creating letters. And the actual trick is that you're keeping your brush or your pen fairly steady. So instead of writing in however you normally would, you're using it to create broad strokes. And then those broad strokes create the signature curves that you come to associate with the really fancy lettering. But
I agree with it.
Are you guys confident in your shaping abilities or your curves?
Oh.
Let me know when you're ready to begin. What's this with the video? It doesn't look like you actually have sound. So if you want to give me a thumbs up when you're ready, that would be awesome. Okay, so the Fraktur alphabet, I don't know if you can see my very pale highlighter sheet, but the Fraktur alphabet looks a lot more intense than it actually is. It looks extra, and it is extra, but it is not as extra as it possibly could be. So for the basic first letter of A, if you look at your sheets or your reference sheets, you will also notice that some of the letters have two versions, because I found multiple versions when I was trying to create a guide for this. And when you do it yourself, you can use whichever version you can find easier and whichever one you like more. But your first A, you will do a curvy line, a very curvy line. that's most of your A. But then we do a straight line
These are
down.
the people that store in the mall constantly, that little one down near the food court. The ones down near the food court.
A little curve in the middle. And if you want, you can do an extra curve at the end. And that's A number 1. A number 2, we're going to do that weird, like, it's basically half of a 2. So we're going to do a weird half of a 2. And then we are going to do the curvy line underneath. Okay. And then same as before, just take the brush and go almost straight down at an angle. The only trick with this is that you want the almost straight down one to be fairly close to the end of the curve, because we're going to connect them in a sec. And then with the flat of your pen, connect the top of that straight down to the end of the curve. And then we can do a little curve in the middle, which creates the signature A dash. And we can have that weird, like, curl on the end of the curve to make it super fancy. Are you guys good? Should I do it again? Okay, I'm going to assume silence means yes, you are good. And so lowercase a is actually wicked easy. Do a little curve, little one of like the half twos, and then do a squiggle, go up, and then down. Okay, should I move on, or are you guys good?
I'm good.
Okay, cool. Oh, I can hear you. That's exciting. Okay, so B, you do a little hook and a line that does a mild curve, but it doesn't have to be an extreme curve in this one. And then the B is sort of weird. So it has above the little hook, you do a curve that actually swerves down. Like, it's a very extended curve.
No. Just like, why are you here though? Too easy. You're smart. I just wanted to see how you were doing.
I think maybe one
You're such a brat. Speak your name.
Can you not see?
You can.
And so once you have that, from about the middle, near the end of the really big curve, you go down in about half of the curve. And then from the base of your original line, you do another squiggle, which connects the base to the one curve. And then to give it that extra flourish, take the edge of the pen and go straight down. It's a very big, very fancy alphabet that likes having its very extended lines. And then we're going to have a little dot basically in the middle of it. And the little dot is easy enough where you just take the pen and go like diagonally, basically. Just go diagonally down. So with the tip starting on the line itself, just like that. And that is your uppercase B. Your lowercase b is a line, a fairly straight line anyway. We're going to do that again. With a curve at the end. Just moved up because I found that easier. And then from the lower point in it, we're going to catch it, go up and around. So it looks like a 6 and a 9, got together and decided to be extra together. And that is your lowercase b. Is everyone good with the b?
Yeah.
So the C is fairly easy, and strangely less extra than basically any of the other letters. You do a curve, like you are drawing half of a circle or drawing a regular C in normal English writing. And then, except you just don't go all the way across the top. And then with the flat of your pen, go straight down again. You can go a bit further up. You can make this as extra as you really want. Those are my birds, don't mind them. And then near the top of the C, right underneath, or a little bit underneath the start of your line, take the blade or take the pen and do a squiggle. And the only difference between this squiggle and every other squiggle you've done beforehand is you go down afterward. So squiggle and down, like an accent, a very strange accent. And then that fun thing where you just draw a little triangle at the middle of the letter. And that's your uppercase C. Your lowercase c is slightly curvy line, and up, and then a little hook. Ready for the D? I assume that is a yes. So the D is, there's two Ds. One of them is very similar to its Gothic counterpart, where it is that curvy line going off to the side. Birds. Very sorry for my birds. And then with the pen, a little bit up and to the left of the D, you will do what basically amounts to a curly Q and go down, leaving that gap in the middle between.
Yeah.
And then our favorite and most used line, we're going to do another curve. Starting at the base, going up a little bit and connecting with the lower line of the D.
I'd say sweatpants.
And then the accent is again just straight line all the way down. And that little diamond in the middle. Congratulations. The other D is a lot easier, or not even a lot easier, it's about the same level of ease. There is a line that you just do straight down, or straight down and slightly to the side, however you prefer. And from above the D, you basically do the opposite thing of a C. So you, with the flat of your brush or pen, go straight down and around. So you have a really big curve around the D, but you don't connect it because they were extravagant and make fans. At the bottom, we do our favorite curve, which connects it. And then at the top, we put our pen on top of our line and we basically curl around to the inside of the D.
I'm pulling by your ear, you can, and make it like your ear. So you like that.
And we ignore that extra line there because I didn't put my D's far enough apart.
Maybe you must be getting. Stop. Go. Okay, go.
That's a much better D. Lowercase d is equally easy. You do line, flat line across, line down, or like slightly curvy line down, and then diagonal line down to the right.
5, 6.
Above the D, we do another curve that connects to the bottom line. And then for the extra accent point from the top of our line, we curve down.
Yeah.
So it almost looks like an 8, but a very ridiculous 8. Okay. That is the D. Are we good? Should I do the D again?
Yeah.
Do the D again? Okay. The upper or the lowercase one?
The upper.
Okay. Do you want this D again or this D again?
That one.
This one? Okay. So, flat of your pen, down and a bit to the left. Okay. From above the line that you've just drawn, do a general curve down. From the bottom, like a little bit to the left of your first line, do our favorite curve, which will, assuming that I'm actually getting my pen strokes like broad enough, give you that lovely curving shape. It's just that. It's just that on the bottom of the D. And then let me know when you're ready.
Ready.
Okay. And then from the top, we put our brush, or I'm gonna keep saying brush, but the tip of our pen on, and we're just curving down through our original line and inside the D. Do we want to go again?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Do we want to go on to the E?
Yeah.
Okay. So there are 2 E's. First one, we're going to do a nice squiggly line again. I should just call it an upright squiggly line because it is an upright squiggly line. So we're after the upright squiggly line, from the bottom of the squiggly line, keeping our pen flat, we're going to basically curve down and up. So our basic squiggly line, or our squiggly line, just extended. From the top of our first line, we're going to do another really big long line. And then a little bit down, we're going to do another squiggle. And just like on the C, once we do our squiggle, we're just going to drag our pen down so we get that little hook at the edge. And then for the middle bar of the E, we're going to do a little squiggle, also with a hook. Are we good with are you okay with the C?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, other E is honestly about as easy. So we're going to do a curve, basically that same curve that we did with the C. So big curve. Should actually do another one because this pen is really big. So big curve. And from the end of this curve, that same hook that we had on like this E and the squiggle of the C, we're going to do it at the end of the curve. So just curve straight down. Okay, and then from the top of the curve, probably going to have to do it this way so you can see. We're going to do a sort of squiggle where we just go up, down and up a little bit. I don't have a good way of describing that, which is sad, but one day I will come up with it. And then from the place where like the curve here starts, I'm going to draw a line straight down to about midway through the E. And then like somewhere around the midpoint of the curve, but a little bit lower than this line that we've just created, we are going to take our pens and we're going to go up in a curve. It's just like a weird curve, or not even a weird curve, it's just a curve. Just a curve to add extra flourish to the E. And then with the flat of your blade, or the flat of your pen in the middle of this line that you've created in the middle of the E, just go straight out. And then for the accent, we go straight down. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Are you good with it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then lowercase e is flat line down and to the right. So down and to the right. And then another line up with the flat of your pen. And then from the top, go up to the right, down to the right, and straight across. Are we okay?
Yep.
Okay. Are you confident in your abilities to make ease?
Yes.
Okay. Then we are going to go on to a completely different sheet of paper for the next part of the alphabet. Cool. We can't see everything through that. That's helpful. So the next letter is the F. And the F is going to start with that squiggle. That same squiggle that is a very exaggerated squiggle. Like that. And then once we have our vertical extreme squiggle, we are going to go for the top of the F, which is a very big horizontal squiggle. And the flourishes of this are from about the midpoint of our vertical squiggle. We're going to do another vertical squiggle that is slightly at an angle. So it's going to be like it's like a tail. It's like a dog's tail that happens to be attached to an F. It's a very excited dog. Or a very excited cat, either way. And then for the R across it, the same thing that we did with the middle of the E. It's going to go straight up and down. So it's a partial curve. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. The lowercase f is a curved line, a vaguely curved line downward. At the end of it, that flourish where you just basically draw a line across, we're going to do that. It's like a foot. It's a flat foot. So the curves on the bottom we're going to call feet, and we're going to call like these little bars flat feet. So it's a flat foot. The top, go up and curve down. And then in the middle, just take our pen, go sideways, and do a flat foot in midair. I am assuming you are good with F.
Yep.
Okay. And I'm assuming the other Alexis is also good with an F, but they're silent Alexis at the moment, so that's okay. G is, so there are two G's. The first one starts off basically exactly the same as a C. So we're going to do that curve with a decent space over. And then same way as a C, we're going to go take the flat of our pen and go straight down the line. And also like a C, we're going to have that like a little bit from the top. We're going to do a hook curve, and we're going to put a foot on it. And so that is part one of the G. And as you can see, it looks almost exactly like a C, but we're going to do a little curve right in the middle, or a little curl right in the middle. And then from that little curl, we're going to do a vertical curl, so it connects with the bottom of our original line. The other uppercase G is roughly as easy. We're going to do that same curve where we don't start all the way over, but just down and up. So 2/3 of a C. And then in the same way that we had the E, or the secondary E, we're going to do a curve at the top, but not like a little curve, not an extreme curve. And also, like the E, we are going to draw a line straight down to about the midpoint of the G. And then we're going to have that same like little curl, where it's almost an accent point, where you just go up and slightly down in the middle of the G. And then from about the middle of it, we are going to, we can't see, going to draw a line, which is a curve that connects to the baseline of the G. Welcome back. Okay. And then,
Ryan?
are you okay with the uppercase G's?
Yeah.
Okay. Lowercase G is super easy. There is a slight curve. And then at the bottom of the slight curve, we're going to do a little squiggle. At the top of the curve, we are going to slant upward to the right and do a little hook down to the right. And then we're, from the end of that little hook, going to go straight down. And we're going to do a little squiggle. Good with G?
Mm-hmm.
H, that like very curvy squiggle. I'm going to start with that very curvy vertical squiggle. And then we are going to put a squiggle foot on it. And then for the actual like curve of the H, take the basically flat of your pen and go up in a flat line. And then do a little curve and circle or like curve down with a actual point between the flat line and the curve. Every time I saw this, it legitimately went below the like squiggle foot. So if it does that, you are cool. And then from the top, we are going to do a curve down and around. So it's like there's a little loop on top of the H. And the lowercase h is equally easy. We're going to do a slightly curved line down, and we're going to give it a squiggle foot. Sure, I can get a better squiggle foot than that. It's a slightly better squiggle foot. That same line we've been doing with like the G and the E. Gonna do it on top. So line up and like curve around. And then the same thing we did for the uppercase E, or uppercase E, uppercase H. Flat line with the edge of our pen, up, slight hook, and then down and around. So your lowercase h should basically look like a tiny version of your uppercase H. With slightly less flare on top. Ready to move on to the eye? Okay. So the eye is another vertical squiggle as our starting point, but it does not have to be as an extreme of a vertical squiggle as your H. So we can do a better vertical squiggle than that. Okay, so vertical squiggle. And then the top gets a squiggle, normal squiggle. And the bottom gets the same tail sort of thing that the F had. So little squiggle, little vertical squiggle like a tail. And then the top of the eye gets a very tiny squiggle. It's like just itty bitty squiggle off to the side. Lowercase I is flat line with a flat foot and a little squiggle on top. But the lowercase I actually gets its signature dot. Yay, signature dot. Are you okay with I? Okay. J, we're going to do a very tall vertical squiggle. It doesn't have to be an extreme vertical squiggle, but it does have to be tall. The J is probably the tallest letter of this alphabet. So, super tall squiggle. And then, same as the I, we're going to do a little squiggle on top. And we're going to do a slightly extra tail on this J. So it gets an extra curve. So it's a very long tail. And then same as the I, it gets the little squiggle on top. And then even though it's overlapping with the G line, the J gets its own line that goes all the way through. And it gets that diamond right in the middle. Okay. Lowercase j is legitimately a flat line that curves down to the side with a little squiggle on top. And the signature dot or diamond, however you want to do it. You okay with the J?
Yep.
Okay.
the K looks more extra than it is. It's a little bit complicated, but it's not like world ending. So we're going to start with the vertical, very curvy squiggle. And we are going to give it a squiggle foot. And to make things complicated, a bit above the squiggle foot, we're going to do another squiggle. We had a little bit of practice with this with the A, but we're going to connect the two squiggle with a straight vertical line with the edge of our pen. And then we are going to make a diamond. It's a preemptive diamond, but the diamond actually has a point in this letter. And then from the edge of our top squiggle here, we are going to do a, like with the flat of the pen, a thin line to the diamond. And then once we've done that, we get to do the other part of the K, which is a curvy line a lot like an R. So from about the midpoint of this flat line, we're just going to do a sort of vertical squiggle line. And then the last flourish for it is the top, which is another horizontal squiggle line. This K is more akin to your basic cursive K that you don't necessarily see a lot of anymore, but that's okay, because now you have all the idea of how to do a normal cursive K. You can impress people forever. The lowercase k is a straight line down with a hook on top with a squiggle foot, tiny squiggle foot. And then midway through the K, you do another squiggle. We go connecting that end of the squiggle, same way we did with the uppercase. We go line of the pen straight down, and then we do the same like curvy R tail. And that is the lowercase k. You okay? Okay. Ready to move on to the L?
Yeah.
Okay. So the L is a slightly less curvy line than the K, but it is a tall vertical curvy line. And then same with the E, we're going to do a down sloping curvy line. And the L also gets a little squiggle, a little vertical squiggle line at the top. And then it gets the like straight flat line all the way through. And a little diamond like down here somewhere. That is not my best L ever, but that's okay. The lowercase l is legitimately like straight line down with a flat foot and a little curve on top. Okay. The M looks complicated, but I promise you it is not. The M is, so we're going to start off with like basically that weird Happa-2 without the line at the bottom. So we're going to do that line, and we're going to give it a squiggle foot. And then same thing we did with the K. Above him, or above the little squiggle foot, we're going to do another squiggle, like near the top of the 2. So squiggle. And then with the flat of our pens, we're going to connect them. And we can add our little diamond there now if we so desire. And then from the top of the squiggle that we've done, like the upper squiggle, we're going to do a line straight down and hook it off to the side. And then from the top of that line, we're going to do another squiggle. It does really like it squiggles. And then same thing, go straight down and hook it off to the side. And the last part of the M is the extraneous curl, where from the top of our original line, we just curve down. The lowercase m is actually about the same. So we're going to do our tiny line down, and we're going to give it a squiggle foot. And then we are going to do another squiggle on top and have a line go down and off to the side. And then we're going to do yet another squiggle on top and then go down and off to the side. And that is our M. Good? Okay. Okay. And then N is roughly the same process, except we're not going to have this extra thing for the M. So the Happa-2, the squiggle foot, the squiggle on top, trying to match up the end of the squiggle foot with the squiggle on top, a straight line connecting the 2 with our diamond for extra pizzazz, and then near the end of the foot, a straight line down with a hook, and then the curl on the end. The lowercase n, as you might imagine from the lowercase m, is the hook line down with a squiggle foot, a squiggle on top, and then a straight line down with a hook. Okay, and that is the end. We are now a solid halfway through the alphabet, which is awesome. And O, same process that we started with like the G and the C and like half the letters. We're going to do a partial curve. And the line like down and through it. except with the O, we're not going to do the hooky thing. We are going to do that curly Q that we did originally for the D. And we're going to do a curly Q and curve down until we connect to the bottom of our line. And we're still going to put that diamond in the middle, because who doesn't love diamonds in the middle of things? Okay. Lowercase o is also easy. I'm going to do a slightly curvy line down to the right and up. So basically the lower part of the C. And then for the other half, we're going to do slightly curvy line up, down to the right, and then straight down to connect. Okay. We okay with you?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't think that one would give me too much trouble. We need to get ourselves a new piece of blank paper so you don't see all the previous letters underneath. And a new one. All right. So P is going to start with another slightly curvy vertical curvy line. So and then at the base of the P, we are going to do that curve upward. And then near the top, not all the way, but solid bit down, I'm going to do a straight line up and curving down to the right. And then we are going to do a curly Q down, or a curving line down. And across the body of the P, we're going to do another curving line to connect. Lowercase b is a slightly curving line down with the hook on top. And it gets a flat foot. And then the same thing as the uppercase P, we're going to start and go up vertically to the right, do a little curve downward, and then a little line down. We're going to do a curve in the middle to connect it. Q is almost exactly the same as the O. I'm assuming you're good with the P. Okay. If you want me to stop checking with you, I will stop checking with you, but I would rather make sure that I can help you as long as I'm still here. Q, we're going to do that half circle, or that half curving line. And then at the top, we are going to do a curve down. Which is honestly a little bit more akin to its Gothic cousin than like the rest of this font. And the same thing with the O and the D. We're going to have a curl up and down to connect. And from the center of this like curve inward here, we're going to have a line that goes straight down And we're going to put a diamond near the top. And then we are going to have the tail of the Q, which is going to start inside the Q and just be a curving line down and out. Lowercase q is a slightly vertical squiggle. And then it gets a tiny squiggle on top. And from the edge of that tiny squiggle, just go down and to the right. Okay. R is a slight bit trickier, to be very honest, just because that same thing with the K where you're connecting lines in order to get like a shape, we're doing that again, except it's a bigger line. So we're going to start off with our half two, and we are going to give it, as always, basically a foot. It might be easier to do this way. I think it's easier to do this way. We are going to do our straight vertical line down, connecting to the edge of the foot. And then the top of the R is the same shape as the B. So we are doing a very curvy curly Q, or a very curly curve that will connect to this line, but it will only connect to this line. So it's going to look like that. And then the R will get its tail, which is your standard curvy line. It will get a little diamond near the foot. And then it will get its extra curl at the end. Okay, are you okay with the R?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's good because the R is one of the ones that actually gave me issues. So lowercase r is a curve down and slightly up. So normal vertical curve. And then it gets a little curve on top, or a little curl on top. The S, our two, or our half two, is a very tiny half two. So we're going to just do little itty bitty one. And then from the edge of that, we're going to go straight to the right with the flat of the pen. And then we are going to do a bigger curl downward, bigger vertical curl. From somewhere over here, generally, we are going to do a tail. The top of the S, it's another curl. And then it will get through the middle, a straight line down, and a diamond, because we do love our diamonds in this script. Lowercase s is same like little q, or little half two, and a little mini curve. Hook down. And then it gets a little curve on the end and a little curve on top. So slight hook, curve in the middle, hook down, curve on the bottom, curve on top. Good? Okay. T is extra for the purpose of being extra, but is almost identical to its Gothic counterpart. So we are going to start with a very big curl on top. Or a very big horizontal curl. And then in the middle of that, we are going to do a little vertical curl. And because the T is a little bit extra and is trying really hard to be extra, even though it is a very simple letter, we do not connect the curl of it to the top, but in the middle of this, we'll just do a curl. Same as the C or the G or half of the other letters. Lowercase t is equal easy. There is a little hook on the top and it goes straight down and it gets the flat foot. And then it gets the curl in the middle. U is also stupid easy. We are doing that half tooth shape again with its foot. And then with a slight hook, we are going to go down with a flat line, just down and another hook to the side. And then in its signature, like flourish way, it gets a little curl on the edge. And lowercase u is a little bit like a reverse lowercase m or n. So you're going to do that same almost like half two. We're going to give it a curling line at the bottom. And then we are going to hook over and down. And that is our U. And we are almost done. You have almost successfully completed the Fraktur alphabet. The V is almost identical to the U, where we are doing our half two again. And instead of giving it a normal foot, we're giving it a foot that curves down a little bit more. And instead of the U's flat line, we are going to do a slightly curvy line, slightly curvy vertical line, where we connect to the curvy foot. Like the U, it gets the curl to the side, and then it will get that horizontal line straight down and get a diamond. Did I go too fast for that one? Okay, I'm going to assume you are good. Lowercase v is a slight curve down and then to the, so slight curve down and then line to the right. And then just basic straight, slightly curved line down to connect it. And the W looks hard, but the W, it's actually really easy. It's stupid easy. So we're going to do with our half 2 again. And we are going to give it a foot. And then we are going to do another vertical curvy line that connects to the foot. And from the base of that curvy line, we are going to go and do a curve upward. And then we are going to do another curvy line, same as before, that connects, that will be up here and connects to the new curve that we have just made. And as for the flourishes, we get a curly line that goes on top. We will get the curly line that goes off to the side. And we will get a curvy line in the middle, just for extra flair. And then also for extra flair and excessive extraness, we will get 2 lines in the lower part of the W that just go straight down, but they don't have to go all the way up through the W. Shouldn't go past the like weird curling line in the middle, and they will each get a diamond. And then, you okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Lowercase w is like slight half a 2 with a mini foot, a straight line down with a upraised flat foot, and then another curly line, another straight line down, and a little curl on top. So that is W. X, you will do a curvy line down and slightly to the right, but not like, or a straight line down and slightly to the right, not curvy. But it's just a fun curve. And we will give it a curly or a curvy hat. And then the other half of the X, hi bird. The flatten of your pen, go down and curve. It's like a very extra dancer. It's trying very hard to be as extra as the other letters. And it will also get a hat. And then the center of the X will get a curl through it, or a curve through it. Lowercase x is roughly the same thing, except it does not get hats. So you'll get your curvy line down, the line down and across. I did that backwards, but that's okay. And the curvy line in the middle. The Y, we're going to start with our half 2 shape. And we are going to give it an extra, like a nice foot. And then we are going to, with a little hook on top, basically go straight down and to the side, a little bit like the J. The lower part of this gets a tail. And then it will get the little curly on the end and a straight line through with a diamond. Lowercase y is hook curvy line with a curvy foot, then hooked line and a little bit of a curve with tiny bit of a hook if you really want to do it. And you probably noticed that there are 2 versions of Z. Yes, Bird? There's the regular Z that you see in everyday life or don't see in everyday life, and then there is the fancy cursive Z. The regular Z, we are going to start off with a curvy head and go straight down, basically. And then we are going to give it a down curving curly foot. And then for flourish, we're going to add another straight line just to it. And the curve in the middle. Lowercase c is the squiggle and a line down and a parallel line with another squiggle. Our secondary very cursive Z is a slightly sideways squiggle. And then we are going to do a big curve down. And from the base of that curve, we are going to go up in a loop. The top of the Z will get a general curve down. And then the lowercase c is a squiggle with a foot in the direction you would not expect a foot in it, with a little line down, and then a curve, so it looks like a 3, and then it curves up. And that is it. You have successfully written out the entirety of the Fraktur alphabet. You did it. Okay. And